For a long time, people knew me by a different name. They didn't just call me Pastor Ingram. They called me the Queen of Trouble. And honestly, I wore it like a badge of honor. I was the one who stood up. I was the one who fought for the marginalized, for the hurt, for the silenced. And if I stood up, usually the room got kind of quiet because people knew something was coming out of my mouth. I thought my transparency was my ministry. I bared it all. I served up my survival of child molestation, domestic violence, addiction, and my life on HIV. I served it up on a platter for the church table in Jesus' name. I served it up so people could feel less alone, so they could feel comfortable enough to stay. But here's the truth. I didn't tell you this then. I was serving everyone else a platter, a feast, and I was leaving that table starved. Then came the pacemaker, the surgery, the literal slowing down of my heart, and I realized I didn't have one more piece of myself to put on the platter. I went to a new church just looking for a place to breathe, but they didn't see a woman recovering from a heart procedure. They saw a resource. They saw a preacher who could fill a slot on the calendar. I said no privately, and they didn't hear me. So eventually, I did the only thing the Queen of Trouble knew how to do. I stood up. I took the mic one last time, and I said, "Good morning, people of God. I am tired. I am recovering, and I am not here to lead. I am here to sit in the pew." And once I said it, once it finally came out of my mouth, there was no taking it back. But then came the walk, the long, silent, awkward walk back to the pew where I was seated, with every eye in that room on my back. And that's the part that nobody tells you about healing. It doesn't always feel like freedom at first. Sometimes it feels like guilt. Sometimes it feels selfish. Sometimes it feels like you've done something wrong, like you're the bad girl, because you finally stopped carrying everyone else's expectations. And if you're healing right now, you might be in your own awkward walk. You might feel the silence after the no. You might feel alone because you stopped being a resource and started being a person. But if you remember anything today, let it be this. The silence that you hear on the walk back to your seat, that's not the sound of failure. That's the sound of you finally advocating for the most marginalized person in your life, yourself. It's okay to just sit in the pew. The table will be fine. It's time for you to eat